notes from Dr. Alim Abdul Muhammad from the Nation of Islam. And let me turn this on, okay, so I can record for YouTube. So I'll be talking a lot from Dr. Alim. I'll be talking from Newsweek. I'll be talking from China, uh, China's news sources. I want to talk a little bit about the COVID-19, COVID-20, the virus that is spreading now, and not to alarm anyone to, you know, get fanatical, but uh, I don't think we are alarmed enough. The stock market is down again 2,000 points. There's a press conference on right now where Vice President Pence, I think, and the financial staff of Donald Trump are holding a press conference explaining the drop in the Dow Jones um, in the market, and how they believe the taxes that have been dispersed to the people will keep the market balanced in the end. We'll see about that, and I hope it doesn't do have any. I hope it doesn't have any major effects, which I think it will, not on the housing market in terms of the cost of the home, but in terms of the insurance necessary to keep the home in your name and the taxes on the home. I think that's going to become a major problem. So I want to go directly into um, information about the COVID-19, COVID-20 coronavirus. Again, it has been emphasized over and over again, and I don't knock the fact that you should wash your hands, not too much, because anyone that knows about washing your hands with any germ resistant, with any soap or bleach or anything else, over time your body becomes, the chemicals that you're using become resistant to whatever virus that's in the air, so you're not as effective with that. But again, the coronavirus or COVID-19, the COVID-19 virus is now an airborne virus, which means a person can sneeze or sneeze on something and you touch it, but it is airborne. And airborne is the last, I think, level of a virus. The most dangerous level of a virus is airborne. Again, they docked a ship here in America that is occupied. I don't know how many people, but the virus, again, airborne. And the airborne virus I posted up on my page is also, they're cautioning against riding in airplanes. And if you are riding in an airplane, they're trying to tell you where to sit to be um, less affected by the COVID virus if it is in the air conditioner ducts. The travel industry is taking a hard hit because of what's going on with the coronavirus. Everything else is going to be kind of rough for a while. My wife and I had to postpone a trip. We wanted to take another trip, but we have to postpone this one. So now we are on talking about the COVID virus. I want to give us a brief history of what this virus is. We're going to talk about the possible links to germ warfare, the neurotoxin capabilities of the COVID virus, the coronavirus. This is the novelty coronavirus, and we're going to talk about it possibly being used as a biological weapon. And I have proof to go along with what I'm saying. And we're going to talk about MERS and SARS. These are all different strands of the same virus. So I need you to look up, when you get a chance, Dr. Lieberman. That's Lieber, Dr. Lieberman of Harvard University. Dr. Lieberman dug up frozen bones from the tundra in Alaska around 3 years ago, according to Dr. Abdul Ali Muhammad. And I have it up on the, I have it up on the internet. The source in which he got the information from about Dr. Lieberman, I have that up on the screen so you can look that up for yourselves. But Dr. Lieberman, around 3 years ago, decided to investigate what killed so many people during the Spanish flu epidemic. During the Spanish flu epidemic, he isolated the virus. So he dug up about 3 bodies in Alaska, and he isolated the the body. He dug up three bodies. He examined these bodies. He resurrected them, and he drew. I don't know. I couldn't say it's blood, but he drew the DNA from, got the DNA from the bodies, and literally resurrected the Spanish flu. Now, why would someone want to go and resurrect a virus that killed over 100 million people and actually brought an end to um, World War One? The Spanish flu killed over 100 million people, brought an end to World War One. Dr. Lieberman went to the tundra in Alaska around 3 years ago, dug up a few bodies that were frozen in the ice, got the DNA from the bodies to test out this, to see if they still had any remnants of the Spanish flu. They did, but the virus was so, um, um, it didn't have the potency of it had that it had during the Spanish flu epidemic. So what Dr. Lieberman did is he took four genes, four components from the HIV virus, and he added those four genes to the Spanish flu DNA that he got from those three bodies, and literally resurrected the Spanish flu, which was later uh, listed as H1N1. I think they even have a H2N2, um, and other viruses, but it is now the COVID-19 virus. So this is a genetically modified virus. Look it up for yourselves. Dr. Lieberman, Harvard University, dug up the frozen bones from the tundra in Alaska to experiment and find out the components of the Spanish flu that killed over 100 million people during World War One, and it is actually said to have ended the war because so many people were dying from the flu. Again, the paper, my notes here. Dr. Lieberman again paired the Spanish flu with four of the genes from the HIV virus and made it a highly contagious airborne virus. So now COVID-19 is an airborne virus, and it is akin to the MERS virus and the SARS virus. The COVID virus. Now, this was written in, and I found two sources of this. It's in Newsweek magazine, talks about the COVID virus attacking the male testicles. But the Newsweek article downplays the importance of how this virus can attack the male testicles. But the person who has contracted the COVID-19 virus or coronavirus may not die, but the virus is still in the testicles, and it can render the male um, unable to produce children. This is what we're dealing with the COVID virus, COVID-19, COVID-20. It is a biological weapon that can be utilized in a negative way. I don't know if the virus got out of control. I don't know if it was being tested and it just went beyond the boundaries of the test. If someone may have escaped the test zone, or if it's just intentionally released into society because it is airborne. Anytime something is airborne, you can just go into any building, any place, and release that and test the people to see how it affects the people. Now we're going to see how this virus. Now you're not seeing this information, but if you go to the right website, you will see a lot of the Asian Chinese people are dropping, convulsing. You see the foam coming out of their mouths. They're having seizures and other types of things. That is because anytime you're dealing with the neurotoxin or biological weapon, it uses your body and my body against us. So our bodies have ammonia in it, But when the ammonia cannot be flushed out and neutralized, that ammonia is a neurotoxin. And a neurotoxin shuts down the nerves and it shuts down the brain and it shrinks the brain and it causes a lot of issues in the body. Now, a lot of people are talking about being melanated and how being melanated protects us from certain viruses. It does, but it didn't protect us from Ebola. You can put Ebola, SARS, MARS, MERS, SARS, and MERS, and COVID-19, COVID-20, the coronavirus, H1N1, all genetically modified, all have patents. As melanated people, that is an advantage for us, but again, we have a kryptonite. Our kryptonite is that we don't absorb vitamin D well. And when the body doesn't absorb vitamin D properly, the calcium in the body is not used properly. So we begin to have knee problems, back problems, brain problems, heart problems, because the chemicals are not being. So most of us never go see a doctor. But many of us over 35, if you go to the doctor, the first thing they're going to tell you is your vitamin D is low. On the woman's side, the first thing they're going to tell you, your vitamin D is low, your iron is low. This is melanated people. So we get excited when it comes to being melanated, but our melanin has literally, as I stated before, turned against us because we have disrespected the God-given melanin in our skin. By what we put in our bodies, by what we think, by the way we act, we don't respect what God has given. So why should what he has given respect us? We're talking about the COVID virus, COVID-19. It is now, has been, always has been an airborne virus. So washing your hands and cleaning the area is fine, but it is stated that a person can cough in a room, leave the room, and the virus is still in the air. They told a similar story on The Simpsons about the virus coming from China, and it was in a box. And when they opened the box, it traveled all the way over here. You open the box, you get the virus. That's similar to what this virus is doing. It is disrupting the economy. It is disrupting a lot of lives. It was just posted up that the head of the transit system in New York City has been infected with the coronavirus. And also, I want to say thousands, but I don't want to misquote it. Thousands more have been infected with the virus as well. I don't know exactly where, but it was two different articles. I got so much stuff up on the screen. So this article coming out of Wuhan, China, in the it's and this was 3 weeks ago, says Chinese studies find Wuhan coronavirus could do heavy damage to male reproductive system. I'm going to read a little bit of this. It says, as scientists race to unravel the mystery of the Wuhan coronavirus in an effort to stem its spread, a Chinese study has found the disease could lead to male infertility. Fan Qiabin, a urologist at Nanjing Medical University affiliated Shuzhou Hospital, on February 12th posted the results of a scientific research project which found that this disease not only damaged the lungs, but also the kidneys and testes, potentially leading to male infertility. The team surmised the clinical data of 3 previous studies, which included 6 patients, 41 patients, and 91 patients, respectively. So this virus, the COVID, is not only attacking the lungs, it's attacking the kidneys, and it is attacking the male testes. This is the same article that was chopped up in Newsweek and made to seem not as life-threatening, where they said it's not a problem. But anytime you start attacking a person's fertility, it is germ warfare. It is an attack on a particular people. Now, the Chinese believe that because of the 5G technology, that became a problem to other people. No different than when Russia or China and this country believed that someone would get to the moon before them, that a lot of the moon landings were staged so that the American people would not think that we were inferior to any other country. This COVID-19 is attacking the uh, internal organs of the Chinese in particular. It is now attacking children. It wasn't before. I don't know if it is as if any ethnic people other than Chinese, but Chinese have black blood. So I don't know if any more black or darker people have been infected with the virus. But again, 4 elements, 4 genes from the HIV virus. Dr. Lieber included 4 genes from the HIV virus with a less potent form of the Spanish flu, and it is now the COVID-19 or the coronavirus. HIV attacks the immune system. In the 80s, when the AIDS epidemic really came to the forefront, no one understood why males contracted the disease so much more than females. But any virus settles in the anal cavity and in the tip of the penis or the tip in the vagina. It settles there. So male on male having sexual relations, the moment you penetrate the anus, you are literally waking up that virus. So it's just like that. Same when the females start contracting the virus and engaging in anal sex, just like that. No different from COVID-19, which has 4 genes of the HIV virus. If the person lives through the virus, again, they may not be able to have children, and they may continue to spread the virus under some other name, because it's to MERS, then coronavirus. It had H1N1, H2N2, Zika virus, all of these different viruses that are patented. Let me see. I want to make sure I cover everything. Let me see here, because I wrote everything down. Again, the SARS virus was genetically engineered to affect only or specifically Asian people, as the Ebola virus was genetically designed to affect African people. So these viruses, anytime they become specifically for one race of people, we have to begin to look in the at least entertain the thought with facts to back it up, of germ warfare, the use of neurotoxin, and the use of biological weapons. Again, travel is warned against. COVID-19 is indeed a airborne virus. I don't think sometimes we realize how detrimental viruses can be on the economy, how bad it can get if people start to feel as if though they won't have food or water or something like that. My suggestions, as it has been suggested, is to get dry goods, rice, beans. Have those just in case. Learn how to prepare for an emergency before the emergency occurs. My concern is that we get so comfortable in thinking that, we love what am I looking for? We love pretending. Pretending keeps us, black people, satisfied with the status quo. We flash a little money and pretend to be rich. We drive a nice car and pretend to be rich. We use melanin as an excuse and pretend to be free of any threats of viruses or any other thing because we're melanated. That's pretend. That's not real, but that's what we do. We have become so accustomed to, we pretend to be friends, we pretend to be all of these things, but pretending will be tested, and when it's tested, most of us will fail. So my thing is, get yourself some dry goods. The Mormons do it. I spoke with, when I was in college, I spoke about this on one of my other commentaries. White gentleman told me we don't usually, deal with blacks on that level, but I like you, Johnny. So I'm telling you to get beans, rice, and other things to put in your homes for emergencies. Well, we were already taught that in Islam, but I appreciate the thought. Coronavirus. Now, the CDC is limited in what they can do, and most people don't even know the CDC is right there in Atlanta, Georgia. I know a few people that work there. The CDC is actually where The Walking Dead, supposedly where the virus started, that started the whole series, The Walking Dead, that we love so much. And remember, they were trying to get back to Atlanta and find out from the CDC what the virus was, but that never came to pass because I think the building blew up or something. That's the last part of the series I watched. But the CDC in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, they have only been able to test probably about 400 people. So you're talking about testing 400 people, and thousands of people are reported to have symptoms of the novelty COVID-19, COVID-20 virus. In other words, they're not able to contain it because they don't know who all has it. And if it is airborne, then maybe you will be a carrier of it, like Magic Johnson was a carrier of the AIDS virus, but he didn't have it himself. Or many people now, their viral load is so low with HIV because of the medication, you can't even detect the virus in them. But the HIV virus attacks the lungs. So most people who have HIV get tired very quickly. It attacks the liver, it attacks the kidneys. Most have to end up taking steroids to keep the lungs open. This is a part of living with HIV. I spoke with many people about it. I even have 2 commentaries on my YouTube page, the 19 Report, where I spoke to people in Colombia. We did a whole series on the HIV virus in Colombia because it was ranked number 3 at the time. So 4 genes from the HIV virus are now part of the COVID-19, COVID-20 virus. It is airborne. HIV attacks the lungs, the kidneys, the vital organs of the body. It looks for a place to attach onto and destroy blood cells. So they say your white blood cell count is low, you're going to die. We can't get it to come back up any higher. Coronavirus, again, neurotoxin. Why is it a neurotoxin? Let me see. I want to do this. Okay, I wanted to read this on a facts thread. If you don't join threads on the internet, you should join threads. I'm a part of Pal Talk. Sometimes I get a little tired of hearing white folks talk about nigger this and how they're going to take back over the country, but it's interesting. So if you're not a part of any threads, try to join threads. Threads are where people are able to talk about things that aren't talked about on mainstream. So if you're able to join threads, join the thread. This thread headline is fact. Coronavirus is airborne and washing your hands will not protect you as effectively as first thought. Now, I'm quoting this from Merkaba Meditation. This is one of the members of the group says, I just want to make one thing very clear. The mainstream news and official health organizations worldwide seem to say that washing your hands will protect you from the coronavirus infections. Although washing your hands has some effect, the virus mostly spreads through the air. The coronavirus is and that's it. But like with the what was it called, man, that they were using with oh man. It was a nerve agent that they were using during one of the wars. And I'm going to talk about that again. The pictures were so graphic, I didn't want to show too many of them. But like with any nerve gas that you You may be sterile in your testes, but one of your sperms may not be sterile. You impregnate a woman and the child comes out mentally retarded, uh, deformed. All of these things are possible. We will see in the years to come. We're talking about COVID-19. This says, and I'm going to read this and we're going to move on. The new coronavirus spreads mostly person to person contact within 6 feet, 1.8 meters, 1.8 meter radius, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That's the CDC. People with COVID-19, which is the disease caused by the coronavirus, spread viral particles through coughing and sneezing. The particles can land in the mouth or nose of those nearby. This is where we are. If someone infected with the coronavirus sneezes, as long ago as 9 days before you enter into a room, you could still be affected by the coronavirus. This is information that is documented, and it is placed on the www.sciencealert.com website, where you can go and look at the information and see for yourselves what I'm saying. So the coronavirus, airborne, attacking the testicles. Now we're going to go into a little bit of biological weapon, how it can be used as such. Again, we did that already, but the neurotoxin. I talked last week about bilirubin in the liver, and I didn't get my test back yet because I told you I was going to go get tested myself. I did. It turns out that I have a fatty liver. So with a fatty liver, you are producing more ammonia. With the fatty liver, you have pain in the upper region of your abdomen. With the fatty liver, there's a potential for breathing problems, which I had. With the fatty liver, there is potentials of if not handled and reversed, there's potentials of, cirrhosis of the liver. Now, hepatitis, HIV, AIDS also causes cirrhosis of the liver. There was a video out on the internet that someone snuck out of China, and the video shows a man at the gas station who started to convulsing. He fell, he started convulsing and foaming at the mouth. Ammonia is a neurotoxin. Now, let me explain how when this virus attacks the liver, the kidneys, and the liver is not functioning properly, the liver begins to fill up with ammonia. Same thing happens if you drink a lot of alcohol. Your body begins to fill up with ammonia, and they say you die from alcohol poisoning. I should have brought water with me, but I didn't. Now, what are the causes of high blood ammonia? Blood ammonia comes primarily from the bacterial breakdown of unabsorbed dietary proteins in the intestines. Intestinal ammonia passes into the bloodstream and travels to the liver, which converts ammonia into urea. Urea subsequently passes from the body through the urine. High blood ammonia levels can occur with various forms of chronic liver disease. Acute liver failure and gastrointestinal bleeding. Elevated blood ammonia levels adversely affects brain functions. So when our ammonia levels in our blood is elevated due to alcohol, it affects our brain function because it literally shrinks the brain because the brain is starving for hydration. So you find that at the club and other places, most people start fighting after they get drunk. They are literally going insane. So when a young man died from alcohol poisoning here in Manning, probably about 3 years ago, I did a commentary. And I said, when you drink, take with you Pedialyte and take with you alkaline water or take with you Powerade, because Gatorade has a lot of the components of pork in it. And those of us who don't eat pork, you don't want to deal with that too much. And they probably will begin to change that in Powerade as well, but you can get the clear Powerade or the close to clear, and it doesn't have the red dye in it. So I suggested that you take these things when you drink alcohol, drink a little Gatorade, drink a little Pedialyte to keep the brain hydrated so that it doesn't shrink. And you can also use coconut water because coconut water causes us to urinate more. And in urinating, that's how you eliminate a large majority of the acid from the body. So elevated blood ammonia level, a large majority of the ammonia from the body. Elevated ammonia levels adversely affect brain function. Early diagnosis and treatment of an elevated blood ammonia level helps reduce the risk of potential life-threatening complications, which include cirrhosis, Rye syndrome, gastrointestinal bleeding. All of these things affected by a buildup of ammonia, which is a neurotoxin in the blood. Okay, so with the neurotoxin in the blood due to ammonia, the effect that you saw with the video that was snuck out of China, that can be possible. So it becomes a neurotoxin and a biological weapon. Again, the original virus is said to have spread from animals to human. A lot of people like to lick their dogs in the mouth. Unfortunately, a lot of people are engaging in what is known as bestiality. Look it up. That's a form of having sexual relations with your animals. The virus, again, can spread that way. Now, I want to read this real quickly from the NCBI, the U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institution of Health. Ammonia as a potential neurotoxic factor in Alzheimer's disease. Says ammonia is known to be a potent neurotoxin that causes severe negative effects on the central nervous system. Excessive ammonia levels has been detected in the brain of patients with neurological disorder such as Alzheimer's disease. Therefore, ammonia could be a factor contributor to the progression of AD. In this review, we provided an introduction to the toxicity of ammonia and putative ammonia transport proteins. We also hypothesized how ammonia may be linked to AD. Additionally, we discussed the evidence that support the hypothesis that ammonia is a key factor contributing to AD progression. Lastly, we surmised the old and new experimental evidence that focus on energy, metabolism, mitochondrial functions, inflammatory responses, excitatory, glutamatergic, and GABergic neurotransmission and memory in support of ammonia-related hypothesis of Alzheimer's disease. So the one thing that most people who develop Alzheimer's disease forget to do, and Dick Gregory pointed this out, they forget to drink water. So when you don't drink a lot of water and the liver is not flushing out the ammonia, it is a neurotoxin that attacks the brain. When you're not drinking a lot of water and the alcohol you take dries the liver out and it doesn't function properly, then the ammonia builds up and it becomes a neurotoxin that can kill you. COVID-19, how it relates to neurotoxins, biological weapons, and germ warfare. Now, what COVID-19 does, the same as HIV and AIDS does, is that it turns your and my immune system against itself. Again, it's a biological weapon. It produces a high bilirubin in the blood if the liver is not functioning properly. It causes respiratory disease. I'm going back over the things to make sure I got it all in, all I wanted to say. And there are 4 components of it because Dr. Lieberman took the 4 components of HIV, added it to the Spanish flu, which killed over 100 million people during World War I, and resurrected a new name of COVID-19, COVID-20. So that's where we are. I wanted to put that information out there again, not to frighten anyone, but to give us a heads up of what's happening. The coronavirus, the COVID-19 is airborne. It's suggested that we are not in huge crowds of people at this time. A lot of I think France shut down and said that people can work from home. Same things is happening in other major cities. So gas prices, convenience stores, restaurants, travel industry, airplanes, trains, especially the uh, cruise industry, the shipping industry, all are taking a big blow from the COVID-19 virus. And there are more cases being reported in South Carolina. So I suggest that we are very careful at this time, um, and try to take the precautions necessary. Washing the hands is fine. Again, uh, to have on a certain kind of mask does not protect from a airborne virus. You could have literally a cut on your body and that virus gets in from through that cut or through your eyes or through your mouth, through your nose, through your ears. There are many ways for it to get in, but that is just what I was compelled to talk about, to put that information out there for those of us who want to know. And then you can go and research more of it yourself. It's all right there on the internet. Wuhan, WUHAN, the Wuhan newspaper. You can look it up and you can read the information about how the virus attacks the testicles and attacks the male genitalia, how it can render one um, uh, unable to have children. So thank you again. This is Jamil Salib Zamir of the 19 Report, Manning, South Carolina. Thanking everyone for tuning in. Please like and share this information. Tune in to the 19 Network on Facebook and to the 19 Report on YouTube. Also, we will be broadcasting